When we speak of climate change, we often think of melting glaciers, rising seas, or scorching heat waves. But behind these images lies a deeper reality. Climate change is not just about weather, it is about justice. It is about who caused the problem, who suffers the most, and who must take responsibility to heal the Earth. Right now, in the lead-up to the United Nations COP30 summit in Brazil, hundreds of environmental and human rights groups are raising their voices. They are demanding that climate justice must be tied directly to reparations for historical crimes like colonialism and slavery. Why? Because the roots of today's crisis go back centuries. Lands that were once colonized, stripped of resources and forced into systems of exploitation, are now the same lands most vulnerable to floods, droughts, and storms. This is not coincidence. This is the echo of history. And the message is clear. Those who contributed least to the crisis are paying the highest price, while those who profited for centuries are still in positions of comfort. The Quran reminds us in Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 60, "Do not commit abuse on the earth, spreading corruption." Corruption here is more than just dishonesty or immorality. It includes every action that disturbs the balance of nature and life. Climate change is perhaps the largest form of corruption in our modern world, caused not by the majority of humanity, but by the relentless consumption of a few. Let us consider the numbers. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change shows that nearly half of all carbon dioxide released since the Industrial Revolution came from just the wealthiest nations. Meanwhile, the poorest countries combined account for less than 5% of emissions. Yet, it is these same poorer nations that are drowning under rising seas, losing crops to drought, and seeing their children displaced by storms. Logic alone tells us this is unjust, but morality adds another layer. In Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 58, the Quran declares, "Indeed, Allah commands you to render trust to whom they are due, and when you judge between people to judge with justice." Climate justice is not a favor from the rich to the poor. It is not a gift. It is the fulfillment of a trust. It is restoring balance, giving back what was taken, and acknowledging responsibility. Think of history. Colonial powers extracted gold from Africa, spices from Asia, and oil from the Middle East. They built empires on the backs of enslaved people and the endless exploitation of land. Today, the descendants of those lands are hit first and hardest by climate disasters. Reparations, then, are not about pity. They are about breaking the cycle of exploitation that still echoes today. The Quran describes in Surah Ar-Rum, chapter 30, verse 41, "Corruption has appeared on land and sea because of what the hands of people have earned, so he may let them taste part of what they have done, that perhaps they will return." We see this verse alive before our very eyes. Hurricanes sweeping across the Caribbean, wildfires devouring forests in Australia, floods devastating Pakistan. All are reminders that when balance is broken, consequences follow. They are not punishments, but warnings, urging humanity to return to a path of harmony. Science also confirms this. Economists from the European Central Bank show how climate change already disrupts global food prices. Coffee harvests in Brazil are falling, cocoa in Ghana is under threat, rice yields in Asia are shrinking. What once seemed like a distant crisis now touches every breakfast table. Every cup of coffee or slice of bread carries the story of disrupted weather. So, what is the path forward? At COP30, nations will once again negotiate climate finance. Numbers like billions or even trillions of dollars will be discussed. But the real issue is not the size of the number, it is the spirit behind it. Will these funds be offered as charity or as justice? Will they be delivered reluctantly or with humility and honesty? As revealed in Surah Hud, chapter 11, verse 61, the Quran says, "It is He who has produced you from the earth and settled you in it." To be settled on earth is not to exploit it recklessly, but to act as caretakers, protectors, and stewards. This principle challenges us all, rich or poor, powerful or weak, to treat the earth not as a resource to be consumed, but as a trust to be preserved. This wisdom aligns with the findings of modern climate science. Scientists emphasize that urgent reductions in emissions are necessary, but they also recognize that adaptation and reparations are critical. Without them, millions will face forced migration, hunger, and suffering. Let us also hear stories from around the world. In the Pacific, the nation of Tuvalu is preparing to relocate entire communities as rising seas swallow their land. In Africa, farmers in the Sahel are watching their crops fail under relentless drought. In South America, indigenous peoples of the Amazon fight to protect forests that regulate the planet's climate. Each story is different, yet all share the same thread. Those least responsible for the crisis are the first to face its worst effects. And so, as leaders gather in Brazil, the call is not just for technical solutions, but for moral courage. Justice delayed is justice denied, and climate justice delayed may mean lives lost, cultures erased, and lands gone forever. The Quran reminds us once more in Surah Ash-Shura, chapter 42, verse 30. Whatever disaster strikes you is because of what your own hands have earned, yet He pardons much. This verse shows both warning and mercy. Warning that our actions have consequences. Mercy that there is still a chance to change, to repair, and to return to balance before it is too late. So what can we do as individuals? We may not sit at the tables of COP30, but we hold influence in our choices. By supporting sustainable practices, amplifying the voices of vulnerable communities, and demanding accountability from leaders, we participate in this global call for justice. Because in the end, climate change is not simply about carbon, heat, or storms. It is about fairness. It is about healing the wounds of the past, protecting the present, and safeguarding the future. It is about living up to the trust placed upon us. And perhaps, if the last centuries were marked by exploitation, the coming ones can be remembered for cooperation. If greed once divided us, justice can unite us. For the earth belongs not to one nation, not to one generation, but to all of us, and to the Creator who entrusted it to our care.